Second dynasty of ancient Egypt. We continue just with pharaohs and how complicated the period was. So this dynasty, number 2, 2890 to 2686 BC, is the latter of the two dynasties of the Egyptian archaic period, when the seat of the government was centered at Tinis. It is most known for its last ruler, Kase Kemwi, but is otherwise one of the most obscure periods in ancient Egyptian history. Though archaeological evidence of the time is very scant, contrasting data from the first and third dynasties indicates important institutional and economic developments during the second dynasty. So for the first three pharaohs, sources are fairly close in agreement, and the order is supported by an inscription on the statuette of Heteptef, who served in the mortuary cults of these three kings. The first one is Hotep Sekemwi, ruled for 25 to 29 years, Saqqara tomb. The second is Nebra, also known as Kakao. He ruled for 10 or 14 years, gallery, and a tomb is in Saqqara. The last one is Ninetjer. He ruled for 40 years and he is in Saqqara. But the identity of the next few rulers is unclear, and surviving sources might be giving the Horus name or the Nepti full name and the birth names of these rulers. They may also be entirely different individuals or could be the legendary names. This might never be resolved because we don't know, sometimes it's overlapping name and sometimes these rulers are actually different names but is one and the same person, or it's completely different individual. It has been theorized that following the reign of Ninetjer, the country was split and ruled by two successors due to the overly complex state administration of the whole of Egypt. So the following list contains various king names from different sources. So first is Venech Vajanes, ruling just Lower Egypt. He was at the king's list in Turin, Saqqara, and Abydos. And it's theorized that he's the same person as Raneb or even Sekemib Perenpat, but we don't know. Next one is Senej, for 40 years, ruled in Egypt. Fifth king, also at the king's list of Turin, Saqqara, and Abydos, and he doesn't have a Horus name at all. Then Kyres ruled for 17 years, mentioned in Manethos Egyptica. It's quite unknown, a historical king, we don't know exactly. Then Neferkara I, he ruled for 25 years. He's only attested in later documents dated long after the time period of the second dynasty. Also in the king's list, Saqqara, Turin, but not in Abydos king's list. So we don't know. He may ruled only Lower Egypt. Then Neferkasokar, he was ruling Egypt for 48 years, only attested in later documents dated long after the time period of the second dynasty, also not actually at Abydos king's list. The next one is Hujefa the first. That's quite a very strange name, literally means omitted, missing, erased, showing that the king's name was unknown and completely lost. And then he's listed at Saqqara tablet, but he's not at Abydos king list, and he may have ruled only Lower Egypt. Then Set Peripsen, it's connected to the deity Set rather than the traditional Horus, and he was ruling probably just Upper Egypt. Then Sekemib Parenmat, and he's attested by contemporary inscriptions, but not later on the king's list. He has a tomb in El Kab. And then Nubnefer, birth name of a king, quite unknown. Also displacement of this king, and maybe the birth name of Ranep, or his completely separate name, ephemeral king or name, we don't know. And the last ruler, the sources return to an agreement. The last ruler is Kase Kemwi, and Kase Kemwi was ruling for 17-18 years, known as Keneres in Manethos Egyptica. He was probably ruled maybe even 30 years, according to Manethos Egyptica, the tomb in El Kab, and the capital is Tinis. A lot of people were buried in Saqqara, somewhere the power was maybe moved to Memphis. And then we don't know much about all these pharaohs, but we know that during the reign of Kase Kemwi, so the last one, as many Egyptologists read his name as the two powers arise. So then the power over the country was quite significant.